This video will explain content from both episodes 12 and 13 as these two episodes run sequentially. In this episode, red blood cell is tasked with training a new red blood cell, which she absolutely succeeded in by bungling up everything because she's either too distracted or has a poor sense of direction. However, what matters most is her tenacity and determination in training her apprentice, no matter how difficult. And then, tragedy strikes. The body gets a heavy injury on the head, leading to a loss of blood. The human body has about 5 liters of blood. While the body can handle small amounts of blood loss, losing more than 30% can be fatal. This is a condition known as hypovolemic shock, where the body enters a state of shock due to blood loss. Shock is divided into 4 stages: initial, compensatory, progressive, and refractory. The initial stage of shock happens upon blood loss. Significant blood loss is dangerous as red blood cells are needed for the transport of oxygen around the body. Oxygen is utilized by cells during respiration, converting glucose into energy and carbon dioxide. Without enough oxygen, cells go through anaerobic respiration, whereby glucose is broken down into lactic acid with decreased energy returns, leading to acidosis where the blood becomes acidic. The body would attempt to compensate for the imbalanced state caused by the shock. There would be increased breathing to remove carbon dioxide. This reduces the amount of bicarbonate and hydrogen ions, thereby reducing acidosis caused by excess anaerobic respiration. Blood loss would result in lower blood pressure, leading to the release of hormones epinephrine and norepinephrine. Norepinephrine results in vasoconstriction, while epinephrine increases the heart rate, both of which increases the blood pressure and blood flow. Such an action would backfire at the site of injury, whereby the increased blood pressure speeds up the rate of blood loss, especially if bleeding occurs through the arteries. First aid often recommends applying pressure to the wound to stop the bleeding. The carrying capacity of red blood cells, however, do not increase. Compensatory measures eventually fail and the body enters the progressive stage, whereby acidosis leads to muscular relaxation in the arterioles, resulting in blood remaining in the capillaries. The lack of blood flow leads to the loss of thermoregulation, leading to hypothermia. Cells eventually die from the lack of oxygen, leading to irreversible organ damage and eventually death. While all hope seemed lost, new red blood cells were introduced to the body, restoring the body's blood volume to its original level. This is a blood transfusion, whereby blood from one body is transferred to another body to make up for the shortfall of physiological functions. Depending on the country, 200 to 500 milliliters of blood is drawn from the donor at any time. Donated blood is stored in bags and divided into 3 units: red blood cells, platelets, and plasma, and stored for up to 6 weeks. The body recovers and replenishes the lost blood within a month. However, before blood can be injected to the recipient, it must be compatible. Red blood cells have 2 types of antigens, A and B, on the cell surface, which determines the blood group. Similarly, blood plasma also has antibodies against antigens not found in the body because of negative selection. If the blood group is not compatible, the patient's immune system would treat the transfused blood as a threat and mount a response against it. It is thus important to transfuse blood containing antigens which the body does not have antibodies to. White blood cells have much more complex surface antigens, making it difficult to find a suitable match within its shelf life, which is why they are removed from donated blood. Potential donors would first donate their antigenic profiles via a cheek swab, which are stored in databases. Should a patient require white blood cells and a matching donor is found, the donor would be contacted. All episodes of Cells at Work have been reviewed, but that is not the end of this series, as next week I will be reviewing the special episode.